I'm muted. Hey guys, welcome to another Monday night rookie roundtable. Alex is not here this week. He is traveling, so I will be hosting the call this week. Some of you may or may not know who I am. But I'll do a little quick introduction, um, do some talking, but I want to make this call a little more of a discussion instead of me talking for like an hour. So I encourage everyone to turn their cameras on and get involved. If you don't know who I am, I'm Nick Chiarmonte, and I've been working with Alex for about 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in about 2 weeks. I'm 17, and I currently am a GP in 500 something units, which is really cool. I've been working with Alex for a while, and he's taught me everything I know about real estate and multifamily and marketing. I've helped him grow his following. I met Alex when he had like 600 followers on Instagram. He started creating content and short form videos, and it turned into Legends Equity Group and the Legends Mastermind and creating this amazing community. I remember when this call was like 8 people, and we would all just hang out and talk about multifamily. And there's all these recordings of it. It's really cool, and it's been really exciting to watch this community grow. So I'm gonna give a little background about myself. I'm really passionate both about marketing and real estate, but also about inspiring teens to do this because I've been really fortunate and lucky enough to meet Alex at such a young age, but a lot of teenagers don't have this opportunity to be able to learn about investing and how you can be an entrepreneur because school doesn't really support you for that. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I encourage everyone to also talk and let's have a discussion instead of just me talking for 45 minutes. I'm gonna start with a little background. Andy, Max, and JJ had a really great conversation. 30 minutes before this call is the teen call. So any teens that want to have a community of other teens to learn about investing and just support in whatever you guys are doing, I encourage you, if you know anyone, let them know that this call is available. Don't force them to join, but let them know that the opportunity is there. And it's a really cool call. And we talked a lot about how this isn't available. And I'm kind of going to tell my story again to everyone now. So I met Alex about 2 years ago, but this story kind of starts a little before that. During COVID, um, me and my dad, who's also on this call, um, decided to buy storage units from a party planning company that was closing down. And it was two full storage units of a lot of home decor, all these supplies. And we decided that we were going to buy it for $7,000 and we were going to have these garage sales and kind of flip it. So that was the goal. We bought them with all the U-line shelves. We filled up this huge U-Haul and we put it into our one-car garage. And the boxes literally were from the back to the front, all the way to the ceiling. So it was a lot of stuff. And we spent the entire summer, more than the entire summer, having these garage sales. We put ads up on Facebook Marketplace. We'd go to all these garage sale websites and put these listings on there. And we'd have hundreds of people come every weekend and buy these home decor things and it was really great. I'm a really introverted person. I would have never done this, even talking to, and there's not a ton of people here, but even these 20 people that are here, I would have never done this a year or two ago. I was very shy. So this kind of gave me my first opportunity to talk to people and sell and do these transactions. And it was a really rewarding experience. And we made a little bit of money off of it too. Um, and about, a year later, my dad and my aunt decided they wanted to start a podcast, and I helped them set that all up. We actually have a podcast studio in our basement now. So I learned about marketing and creating websites and how to develop a podcast working with them also. And it just happened to be that Alex was a guest on that podcast about 2 years ago from next week. And he was like, "Who does your podcast?" My dad was like, "My son." And we ended up hopping on a call. And he was just getting into commercial real estate. He had done Airbnbs for a long time, but he wanted to build an educational company and teach people how to do this too. So we talked about it, and he gave me two options. He was like, "I'll either pay you $5,000 a month. You can help me do my marketing, grow my business, or we can become partners in this business. I'll mentor you about everything about real estate, everything that I know. I'll fly out to all these conferences, and I can teach you how to do this too." And as a 16-year-old, newly turned 16-year-old, it was a very appealing to make $5,000 a month because, some adults don't even do that. But I decided to go with the second option. I took a stake equity instead of money up front. And it was by far the best decision I've made. And 2 years later, I've learned so much about real estate. I have this pin in my room that has all the lanyards of conferences I've been to. It's super fun, like sticking another one on there. I've been to a lot of multifamily conferences. I've been to 10X conferences, Rod Cleef's conferences, AIM.com with Brad Semrock. We recently actually just threw our first conference in Vegas last weekend, and it was really great to meet some people that were on here and, meet all these amazing speakers and all these attendees and kind of see what goes on behind the scenes of throwing a conference. So I've learned so much from Alex. I am a GP in, as I said, 500 units, and I own a few, like 3 Airbnbs in Las Vegas. I actually took that original money we made um, with the storage units that we did. Um, and I put that into my first real estate asset. And it's pretty cool and pretty funny that I actually get paper checks in the mail because I can't use Zelle yet. I'm not 18. So I get paper checks and I have to sign the back of them and then take a picture and deposit them. But I'm about to be 18 in the next 2 weeks, which is pretty exciting. So that's kind of my story. That's how I got here. Some of you have probably seen me on just about every one of these calls. Anywhere that Alex is, I'm usually there too. I actually live in New Jersey, so not in Vegas, but I travel there a lot, and I'll probably be moving out there in the summer when I graduate high school. So that's kind of my story. I'm really passionate not only just about marketing and real estate, but about inspiring teens to have the opportunity to do this too. Because the one question I get a lot is how old are you, first of all? And when I tell them how old I am, the one response I always get is, wow, I wish I started when I was your age. Like it could be any person in their 20s and their 30s and their 50s and their 60s, anyone wishes they started this young. And I understand, like, it's been an amazing opportunity to be able to, work with Alex at such a young age. I'm really lucky that I was given this opportunity. And I know other kids may or may not have taken that opportunity, but everyone should be have given the chance to be able to do this. And this isn't common knowledge. I guess when you're in the space, you think like everyone knows about this. But when you kind of go out into the outside world, it's, very few people know about investing and how this all works. And I think school doesn't really set you up for that. We have like one marking period of financial literacy in my school, and you learn about how to stay out of credit card debt and how to buy your first house. You don't really learn how to leverage debt or buy assets. You learn how to stay out of it and buy houses. Um, and it's not really taught in schools, and you don't really get this opportunity to learn. And every time I talk on stage or I talk on calls, people always ask me like, how can I get my kids into it? And I think we had a great conversation in the call before this about that. And I always tell people that it's not about forcing kids to do it because I think, especially when you're young, you want that free will of being able to choose what you want to do, but giving people the opportunity, especially teenagers, given the opportunity to learn about this, and if they're interested in it, to go forward and do this as a career, because not many people are given the opportunity to learn about this. And it usually comes from parents that are the ones that push them into this. So one of the big passions of mine is one day I want to, be able to speak at schools and in colleges and spread this awareness because it's not taught normally. So that's a little bit about me and what I like to do. I want to answer any questions you guys have. I'm sure it's not normal for a teenager to be hosting calls like this. Probably doesn't happen that often. And I get a lot of questions, but I want to make this a discussion on how we can help teens across the country learn about real estate and investing and be able to spread this knowledge to everyone. Because I think, if imagine if you were 17 years old and you had gotten into multifamily or gotten into, any career that you wanted to do and knew and were able to learn so much about it. Like, think how far you would be now. Not saying you can't still do it when you're older, but think how far you would be now. And it's always, the response I get. So helping kids do real estate and buy commercial assets at such a young age is a really big passion of mine, and I want to help as many people do it. And it takes every one of us. It takes the parents of kids and anyone to just support them. And I think when you're young, everyone wants you to win, and that's my goal. So I think I wanted to make this call a little bit of a discussion. You can ask me questions. We can talk about it and see how we can bring more teens into the space also. So Does anyone have any questions, comments? I usually, when I host these calls, I usually talk about marketing. Like that's my thing because I've worked with Alex so much. So if you have any questions about social media, marketing, CRMs, that's also my strong suit. But I usually talk about it on these calls. I was like, let me do something different this week. I've hosted this call a few times before. So I wanted to talk about teens because I'm a teenager. I know a lot of teens. Most of my friends aren't really interested in this, but there are a bunch of teens out there that would be, and how we can, help and support them and spread awareness to them. It's not about forcing kids to do this, but just to be able to spread awareness that this is possible and this is a path that you could go down, which isn't really normal. The normal school prepares you to go to college and get a 9 to 5 job. That's what most people are trying to get out of. So the earlier people can learn about this, the better. So the floor is open. If anyone has any questions, comments,
I have a
suggestions?
question, Nick.
Yeah.
I'd never heard your story in depth before, and I am so inspired. And the first thing that comes to my mind is on college campuses, this could completely disrupt the whole game around fraternities and sororities because they come from privileged families, but they don't have any life skills. And it's literally disrupting the reason why they're going to college to get a quote unquote good job and excel in life. And when they're in a fraternity or a sorority, they have to come from money or be able to resource to be able to be part of that. I would personally was never part of that. But I mean, to make such a thing as hazing, like politically incorrect, or giving people an option to build wealth that far exceeds even before they get out of college, what they hope to get out of college in terms of an income or a vocation. And it's just completely paradigm shifting. So I just wanted to put it out there. Never mind that their hormones are raging. And sometimes, especially for women, just relationships and finding like Mr. Right overrides anything financial, which should be the opposite way, right? But we're not taught that either. So, you know, you just open a little can of worms there. But I mean, that's what first came to my mind, and the opportunity exists for kids entering college. And, you know, they don't need a scholarship if they built wealth up until that time, but that's going to be really, really rare. But exploring all those financial prep types of building blocks that even their parents haven't done in middle age.
Yeah. And it is in common. And the one thing about being, a teenager, being in your early 20s is you don't have that financial responsibility, even that family responsibility that people, older have. And it's harder to get into the real estate game when you have all these responsibilities. So being able to do it at a young age, whether you're in high school or you're getting into college, I think is a really awesome opportunity. And yeah, I don't get to share my story that much, so I'm happy. Thought it was inspiring. Um, and I'm just really excited to be here. And thank you, Javier, for saying I'm a good coach. Shit. Um, anyone else have any comments? I'm sure someone's gotta have something.
Hey, Nick, I'll go.
Hey,
I forgot to change my name. It's Wayne Wallace.
all right, Wayne, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Yeah, I just want to say that it's nice to meet young, entrepreneurial, money motivated people like yourself. It took me many years to find that. Of course, now in this day and age, you guys have all kinds of opportunities with the internet. And every time I meet a young person, they're hustling and doing stuff that I wish I could have done. So keep up the great work.
Thank you. Yeah, and the goal is to spread it to more people. So when we're everyone, older, can say that we started young. How many people have kids on this call? Or
Oh,
Gabby, you can
hi.
go.
Oh, I'm
Hey,
sorry. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm still driving. Um, always love to hear your story. How would you recommend that as a parent of a teen to encourage my teenager without forcing?
that's a great question. And we were actually just talking about this, me, Max, and Andy before. Um, and I think it all comes down to I agree, you can't force, your child to do this. If I was I know personally, if I was forced to work with Alex, I'd have been like, I'm good. Like, why are you forcing me to do this? And I think, especially as a teenager and like getting into having freedom, like you want to have your own free will to be able to choose. Um, so I think it comes down to presenting the opportunity for your kid to be able to learn about this or exposing them to it, but not forcing them to do it. I've actually met a lot of teenagers who like their parents dragged them to a real estate conference. They're like, no, I don't want to go to a conference, like go fly and do all this. And then they ended up loving it. But it's not to say force them to like, you gotta like this conference or like after this, like this is what you're doing, but I want to like teach you how to do it. Um, to say, even if they're reluctant to do it once, I know like sometimes my parents take me places. I'm like, I don't want to do it, and then I have a great time. So even just taking them to a real estate conference, bringing them on a call like once. And if they're interested in it, that's great. If they're not, like there's no problem with that. Some people want to work a 9 to 5 job, and there's nothing wrong with doing it. But there's a lot of teenagers that want to be entrepreneurs, but don't have access to the information we do. So I think it comes down to encouraging teens and giving them the opportunity to do this and like knowing that like their parents will always support them in what they do, but not forcing them into this space.
Yeah, I think see for me that's kind of like how I feel. Like I mean I enjoy the industry since I've been in it. And since then I've been sharing everything about that to to my daughter. Am I on? I'm not on mute. Okay.
Oh, you're good.
And then I took her to WealthCon recently too. Not re Yeah, back in January, I took her to WealthCon too because I didn't know we could take them to the Rock conference, two conferences. So
You're
I
probably
was
the
seeing
youngest
kids
one
there,
there.
babies there. I was seeing kids there, babies there, and all that stuff. And I was like, why don't I just take my daughter? And my daughter went. She didn't understand really. She listened to one of the influencers speak, and she enjoyed it. But then even though she didn't understand it, now she's exposed to it. She knows there. So I think, even though she still wants to kind of like, okay, she could be whatever she wants to be, but then I think when that time comes, when they're ready, right? I mean, like that's how I feel. When I was ready, I was ready. When I wasn't, I didn't take any action. Like I wasn't following my parents' footsteps, but then, you know, and I wanted to be better, you know, the and and then I was more exposed to it, and I put myself in the rooms, and now like literally just, for me, I'm not saying I'm, like, we get into deals, we're doing deals, we create our own network, we're doing everything uh that the industry kind of like that's doing, and we put ourselves in rooms like that, and then we bring it home like our normal lifestyle. um I mean, for Nick, I only met recently,
Yeah.
and we're all impressed by him, right? Just for him being young, we're impressed by him. I didn't even know I could be 17 and invest in real estate, really. If I knew if I knew I was able to do that, or even if I was exposed to that,
Yeah.
right? Back then, like even just a little bit, I probably would have just left it aside for a little bit. Maybe I was more into girls, you know what I mean? But then eventually I'll get back into it because there's comes a time where when you're ready, right? When you're
Yeah.
ready, the master shows up. So, and that's what
Exactly.
happened. And that's what happened, right? And then, even that, like, you know, uh, for just being in it, it's enjoyable. Like I like it now. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else, but it's just, like they don't think about financial freedom.
No,
Kids, they don't think about financial. They don't even know
it's
what
because we're
that
not
financial
taught it.
freedom is because they never work. They never work. You know what I mean? They've never grind. They've never been through that. Why would they want financial freedom if they've never been through that? Right? You've been through it. because your dad exposed you to it. You put in the work to do the garage sale. You put in the work to kind of like buy the whole thing and had to put in the work. And then you're like, okay, now there's a better way than this, right? And
Yeah,
then this is how it is. And you get exposed to the better way, you take it. And and really, it's just that's kind of like how I feel about it. I mean, like I'm kind of glad. I'm glad to kind of be even part of this. On calls, I'm in like all kinds of groups. I just hop on Zoom calls on a bunch of groups. This is not the only Zoom call I've been on in the last couple of years. I've been on a bunch of them. Like, I kind of try to hop on as much as I can because you always learn something from somebody that's doing it, and you're always kind of like always able to share, and you kind of get partners, you kind of get, investors, you get, but the more you expose to it, the more you learn.
exactly.
And yeah, so like Nick, I can back then probably like 2 years, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if I sat here and then talked to you now, and talking about cap rates, talking about multifamily investing, I would not know what you're talking about. But sit
Me
here,
neither.
I can sit here and talk to you all day, and we would understand each other
Yeah.
because we're exposed to it. We've been learning so much, and we've been around it,
And
and we
that's,
put, we
yeah,
put our money where our mouth is. You know what I mean? We invested. We
yeah.
invested either time or money, really, right?
And
So
being so young, and it's exactly about exposure. Like if I didn't meet Alex, if I never did this, like maybe I would, just be a
yeah,
normal teenager and
you're
go in it
you're
and
some of
go.
the lucky ones, Nick. You're
Yeah,
some of the lucky guys, man. I'll tell
exactly.
you that.
And
Yeah.
the goal is, to spread. I guarantee that everyone in this call either has a child that is, young, still a teenager, or even younger, or knows somebody that is, is that age. And, being the most important part is like we're young and we're still malleable, and to be able to expose this to people and to younger people and allow them to choose if they want to do this or not, even if, as you said, like even if they don't choose it now, like at least they have that opportunity in the future when the time is right. And being able to spread this awareness through adults, because that's where kids get their information from. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing. And yeah, it's really awesome
Yeah,
that you're
man.
sharing it with
Cool.
your daughter too.
I know. She's like, my dad is an investor. Like, no, I'm just normal.
Yeah, when my friends ask me like, "What do you do?" or like some people that meet me that are young, it's like long story, but like I do real estate and marketing. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, it's funny. The coolers.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Nick. Hey, everybody. Man, good to see you here. Just want to say, like, what you're talking about right now, and like what you've been exposed to so far is nothing compared to, you know, like it's not college, right? It's not the 4 years or 8 years that doctors are going to have to go through or whatever. But literally, the things that you have been exposed to are laying the foundation to have an impact on your life. I mean, there's really no limit to it. And if I had had someone like Alex as a mentor at your age to actually show me that this was possible, like it's there'd be no telling where I would be today. And it's getting even more important now that uh, the way the economy is, if you're not being an entrepreneur and you don't have the entrepreneurial mindset, if you're not working on communication skills and cash flowing assets and considering things like this, you're going to be left behind,
Yeah,
way behind. Like things are definitely changing, like farther than they ever have. And I'm proud to see how much you have changed, and all of the things that you're doing, like with the social media course, the multifamily mastery course, all of this stuff that's coming out, and it's just progressing and it's getting better. And I can't wait to see where it goes.
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I completely agree with you. And I was talking about this before, and had this conversation. I'm graduating high school, and throughout all of high school, like the end of high school is you go to college, right? Like you go to college, you get a degree. And I agree, like doctors and lawyers, and there are professions where you need a college education. Um, and like as I was becoming a senior, I applied to some colleges for fun. Um, and I could have gotten an MBA. Like I could have gone to college for 4 years, gotten an MBA, and learned everything about business. But I feel like I've learned so much just by doing it, even though I had no idea what I was doing. But getting in the weeds of it, talking to people, being in meetings like this, creating LLCs, filing taxes and doing all the things that you would as an entrepreneur, like, and I wasn't prepared for it. Nobody told me how to do it. Like I had to figure out how to do it myself. I think has been invaluable, and me, just learning through a lecture from a professor, wouldn't have taught me as much. And I think there's arguments on both sides about going to college, but I've decided to take a gap year at least. I'd like to make it a gap forever, but see what I can do full time. Um, but that's my goal, is to be able to teach people that there's other avenues than just going to college, because yeah, the average retirement amount is $50,000 in the US. What are you going to do with $50,000 when you retire? Like you can't live off of that. Um, and I agree with the economy. Like it's not feasible to work a 9 to 5 job. And people realize that 10 or 20 years later, after they're like in student loans and they've gotten a W-2, and so many people try to get out of it now. But like imagine if all this information that I've learned, I've been really fortunate to be with Alex and be able to learn so much from him. And all of you guys have been on these calls and been involved in multifamily now and have learned so much too. But imagine, if everyone was able to learn at such a young age how to do this. And that's, my goal is to be able to spread it to everyone. And it takes not just me and other teens, but the adults that people look up to. So thank you for sharing. I completely agree.
Yeah, not everybody's, it's not for everyone. And like the whole mindset is a very big part of it. And you're one of the ones that's actually going to do this. And you got in at the ground level. And there's really no telling where it ends. So
I agree. And I think if other people, kids were given the opportunity to do it too, not everyone, it's not for everyone. Some people do want to work a 9 to 5 job, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, being able to give the opportunity to kids who would want to be in the same position with me, but, haven't had the opportunity to learn from someone or have a mentor or even know that this exists.
yeah, a lot of people have to, like when I was coming up, college was like you had to do that if you wanted a good job. If you ever wanted to get out of the rat race, you had to go to college and you had to do all these things right. And now even going to college is not going to get you there. That's just going to be like a higher paid rat race job with more debt.
Yep.
And the only way to get out of that is doing something like what you're doing now.
I agree. Being in the weeds of it, being a high school senior and seeing the preparation that students make to go to college. First of all, it causes a lot of stress. We were talking about this before. Like I know people that are in like 6 APs and doing all this to chase a number, and it's hard work. But it's not something they enjoy doing. They're not passionate about, having mounds of homework to chase a number. And also, there's no education about what else you could do, like taking a gap year and working in internship in business and being exposed to this. It's everything just prepares you to go to college. Even like I know I'm taking a gap year. There's not a single person in my 250 person graduating class that is taking a gap year that I know of. And there's no education on it. All the assemblies we've had, all the meetings that I've seen with guidance counselors and presentations they've done has all been about going to college and the prep for college, but not about anything else and the other possibilities that are out there. And I think it's important to spread that awareness because, right now, high school is meant to set you up for college. And as the years go on, college has become less and less important. Anyone else have any comments, questions, shares?
Can I still add something?
Sure.
I don't know if anybody's enjoying if I'm talking too much or not.
There's no too much talking.
What's up, Fraser?
Hey, buddy.
Raise it with the
man.
laser.
I know, right? We should hook up sometime, man. I haven't
Yeah.
talked. The last time I saw you was at that event, the mansion event.
Yeah, the 360, right?
Yeah, 360. That was cool.
It was, yeah.
The one thing I kind of like learned too, really, it's hard. It's not easy.
Oh,
It's like if you're starting out, you need a mentor. And if you do pay for a mentor, it's not cheap,
nope.
right? You're actually paying for a college tuition if you do get it. But if you get a free mentor, that is off the easy. Like that is like way cool. You know, like
Yeah.
you're able to get something like that for free and follow somebody. Man, you're lucky, man. Right? I put out 40,000 for mentorship,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And that's a freaking college tuition. But it made me commit, you know. I was
yeah.
able to do it because I had a business. I had, you know, I run things, right? So then like you gotta like really it's the commitment too, you know. Like
Yeah.
you committed and you stuck with it. You would have if it didn't help if you know in a way you would have quit anytime, but you didn't. And kids these days or any day, if something's hard or anybody, they'll easily quit. You know what I mean?
I
That's one
agree.
thing. Don't
But
quit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I agree.
You know?
But I want to add something to that. I agree. There are people that this is not meant for that would quit when it gets hard. But I think there are
Right.
also a lot of kids that would be determined if they gave this opportunity that this is what they wanted to do in life that would do it, but are not given
Yeah.
the opportunity to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And I agree. Teenagers can't drop 40 G's on a mentorship.
Yeah.
No, they don't have that money unless their parents are
Right.
rich. I don't think you could make, I mean, maybe you could if you grinded for it, but you know, most kids aren't walking around with $40,000. And,
Yeah.
you know, I was able to get this mentorship. I helped Alex in a way, and he's helped me so much.
Right.
Um, and
That's the
it's
value.
I've been really fortunate to be able to get this. And
Yeah.
I think it's important that yes, teens would quit and it's not for everyone. But
Yeah.
I think there are a subset of teenagers and people that are young that would put in the work
Yeah.
because it is easier
Right.
to get a W-2 job. It's easier for me to like work at Staples and have a part-time job as a cashier than what I do. I work a lot. I made sacrifices and I'm not gone to events and stuff, hang out with my friends sometimes because I'm doing this. And I think it isn't for everyone, but I think a lot of teens would take advantage of this opportunity if they knew and they had someone who was holding them accountable. Because I quit if I'm holding myself accountable. But when I'm accountable to other people and other people are supporting me, it definitely decreases the chances that I'm going to quit at something
Yeah.
else.
Cool.
Yeah, sure, I'll go.
Hey, Fraser.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, like for someone my age, 44, to see you, Nick, doing all of this and being a part of these things, it's quite inspiring, you know? Like, I mean, I come from construction. I've been doing this since I was 14, so different game altogether. But the thing is I've always enjoyed it. I still like it to this day, even on the hard days. So it's one of the things that I think is important is to make it fun for the people that are coming in, for the teenager that wants to do something like this. It's you got to make it so that it's encouraging in a way, right? Fun. If you're enjoying what you do, then you're gonna have more success in it.
100%. I completely. If I didn't have fun doing this, I would have never done it. And that's the thing. It's not for everyone. You can't expect, your kids or teens that that it's going to be a fit for everyone. But if they do enjoy it, you may not even know if you enjoy it if you're not able to get exposed to it. And so I think exposure for teenagers is key because you don't know if you like something or not if you've never had it.
Well, let me ask you, was it the money that got you motivated?
Well,
At first,
when I met
probably.
Alex, a great question. Nobody has ever asked me that question before. I think.
Let's be real, man. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
I think. Well, first of all, my mom was like, "You need to get a job this summer. You're 16. It's time for you to get a job." So I had to get a job, one way or another that year. And yes, I think one part of it was yeah, it was money. Even though I never, if it was completely money, I would have taken the $5,000 and I probably wouldn't still be here because I would have been an employee. So it
Good answer.
wasn't completely about the money because I didn't make my, yeah, I could have started to make $5,000 from day one, or it would have taken me a year to like see the fruit of my labor, even though it was so much bigger. So I don't think it was completely about the money. I think there's definitely a part of it. I always like wanted to be my own boss too, and like I didn't want to work a typical job. So I think also it being different and it being like a new and intriguing opportunity that nobody else my age was doing, and to learn about all this. Like I love learning. I love teaching and learning. I used to teach my grandparents school, like when I would come home and we'd have like the classroom set up. So I love teaching too, and I love learning new things. So I think the intrigue of it being so different, um, and yes, it also being a place where I can make money. But I think it was a combination of different factors that got me to it.
I think you you kind of come to realize that you enjoy it more than the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, if it was just if I didn't enjoy it and I was making me money, I wouldn't want to do it because then what do you do? If you
Um,
don't enjoy something, like you only got one shot at it. And
right.
I also didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think there's so much pressure when you're young to figure out what you want to do in life and like, figure out what career you want to go into. Um, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I didn't know until I met Alex, not even when I met Alex, months later, that I enjoyed marketing and real estate so much. And like this was my passion.
Hmm.
And I would have had no idea that it was if I had never met Alex. And it goes back to having the opportunity to work with Alex and do his marketing and learn so much about it and realize this is something I really like. Because I had tried so many things as a kid. My parents were always supportive of what I did, no matter what it was. They were like, no, you can't do it. They were always supportive. So I tried a million different things. And I was like, damn, I don't really, really, really like doing any of these things. And I've tried so many things. And it wasn't until I got this opportunity that I was like, this is what I really want to do.
Good conversation, man.
Yeah. It's my favorite. Talking with people. Who would have known? I would have never thought I would like talking to people a few years ago.
Yeah, but then this is kind of, I remember going to my first networking meetup for this multifamily. Dude, I don't know why I sat in the car for like 15 minutes
I was
and
so
before I even went
anxious.
into the meetup. And then you come to realize it's just
Just
people just
people.
come, people just come and talk. You're
Yeah.
just talking.
Oh my God. The first ever conference I went to was a 10X Real Estate Summit, July of 2022. And Alex had this thing where he would create a group chat and he would just try to get as many people into it as possible, WhatsApp group chat. And I was so nervous. There were people so much older than me. I had no idea what they were talking about, like multifamily. I had been in this call for like 2 months maybe, and I didn't know too much. Like it barely wrapped my head around what a GP and LP was and what a syndication was. I had no idea what I was talking about. Nobody was my age. I was like, I definitely felt like a fish out of water, and I was so anxious. But I had to go talk to these people and add them to a group chat. It was a great conversation starter. Hey, are you in this group chat? We're trying to connect all the people at this conference. And I met a lot of amazing people from that first event that I went to. But I remember being like, I was an introvert. I didn't talk to this many people ever in my life. But it was, really rewarding. And I've been able to break out of my comfort zone now. I can talk to you
Yeah.
guys.
Once you kind of break out of your comfort zone, it's like you can do it over and over again.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. Yeah. Getting into first deal too.
Yeah.
That was hard and long. And once it's done, it's just like just running the business.
Yeah.
Just running. But anyways,
Yeah.
what
Anyone
about other
else?
people here? Anybody else
I know
here?
everyone here either has a kid themselves or knows somebody that's a teenager. So this probably applies to almost everyone in the world. I'm sure everyone on this call.
My kid's a bit young, but yes, I will definitely be bringing her to events once I'm able to get down to the States full time and be there for her. And when she's, hey, where are you going, daddy? And stuff like that. Oh, I'm going to this event. Do you want to come? Right. Like I definitely want to bring her for sure, get her
Yeah.
involved. Yeah, I think it's truly amazing actually at the Brad Sumrock one in Dallas that I met you guys at. There was a couple of really young kids, like 7 and 8 years old, already going. So
Yeah,
I mean, it was so cool to see for sure.
it is amazing to see people so young. And even if you have, maybe you don't have kids or your kids are super young, find someone, maybe you know someone that's a teenager and needs to get a job and see how they can help you because I'm not Alex's kid, but I'm basically like their adopted child. Hey Gabby.
So, Nick, how do you see, like, you still being in high school, how do you see that the school system can integrate some of these skills that I think the gentleman before Frazier was saying about the communication and all that into our school system?
Definitely have some ideas. Um, I think there's a bunch of things that are wrong with how school is set up, but that could be a whole long conversation. First, I think there should be education on like the different pathways that are available, not just pushing college as the only exit out of high school. But what else can you do? Like, what are the opportunities for internships that are available? Like, because the biggest thing you can do is invest in yourself. And yeah, college is a pretty huge investment in yourself, kind of, but it's not as rewarding as if you're like getting into the grit. If it's something that's what you want to pursue. If you want to be a doctor, be a lawyer, I understand. But, having education about the internships that are available, the mentorships. If you're getting into business, a lot of, I was reading the statistics, not like less than half of the CEOs of like Fortune 500 companies or founders even got an MBA. So, I mean, I'm specifically talking in business, but having, the different education of where you can go after high school, not just college. I think teaching in finance, we have financial literacy, so I guess it's a step in the right direction. But they teach you like the, traditional American way of, going to college, then getting, a salary and then how to balance your checkbook and how to calculate, how much debt you have and paying off your credit cards. They teach you how to buy a house, but they don't teach you how to buy an asset. They teach you how to, stay out of credit card debt, but not like how to leverage debt. So I think the information that we learn, maybe on a more basic level, because you're teaching it to 15, 16-year-olds, but that there's other opportunities that it's not just working a 9 to 5 job. And just, not forcing them to do it, but at least giving them the information that they could do that. I think that, having, teaching communication skills one way or another, I think is important, but you really learn that as you get into the business. I mean, I wasn't a huge communicator when I started and it didn't hold me back. I just learned it as I went. But I think giving the education of that there's different ways of pursuing, what you want to do, not just going to college and integrating that into school. Because I feel like even me in surrounded in all this, doing this for 2 years, I felt the pressure of going to college. I was like, dude, I'm taking a gap year. Like, this is so risky. This is completely against what I've been taught like forever, what I've learned in school, what everyone else is doing in my grade. Like, I mean, I still am, less now, but like I was scared to like take a gap year. And even though like I was confident in myself, I'm confident in what me and Alex are doing, like I was still nerve-wracked. I was still scared. So for kids that maybe don't have this completely set up, like taking the leap and not going to college or even just taking 1 year off, it's, could be huge. Hey, Fraser.
What do your friends think about it? Like, are they like the guys that are getting ready for college? Like, are your personal friends? Like, have you been able to talk to them and has it opened their eyes up at all, or is it still the same track that they've kind of been on? And I kind of love that idea of what you're saying is it's almost like what Alex was saying with the entrepreneurship for the teens coming out of
Ostro.
yes. So why not I mean starting an entrepreneurship and mentorship programs in as a elective, right? Something that people
Yeah,
can choose
there
to
isn't
do.
a lot of that. I have a few business classes in my school, but they're not hands-on. They're not about building businesses or coming up with an idea or pitching a product or a service. It's like business operations. Or like we have a class called business continuity and management. Like it's not that hands-on, and that's what people need. And I think that's what school is lacking. Um, at the second half of your question, I was gonna add something.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I know I'm sure you're not the type to like start talking about what you do to brag, and if anything,
I
you want to keep
don't.
quiet about it.
Exactly. Oh.
But I'm sure in some of your conversations with students that you have disclosed what you do too. It's gotten around, and like I can imagine you having contempt from teachers that don't have their ducks in a row, right? And how
I
you handle that.
Yeah. I'm fortunate to be in a pretty good school system around. And yes, it has gotten I don't like sharing. Even though it's great and everything that I've done, I feel like it's bragging every time I share this, and I'm pretty usually close. My close friends know they like to brag more than I do. Um, and this connects to Fraser's question because I remembered what the second half of your question was. I have told my friends about it and they know about what I do. Um, they're still pretty set a lot parents wise. A lot of my friends are going into business and majoring in business, or computer engineering. Um, so they're kind of in a similar track of me, but they're going the college route, and it's well, mostly is that it's all they know, and I understand why they're doing it, and also their parents. Um, and I'm also just their friend. I'm the same age as them. It's not really like a mentor kind of position where it would be with an adult. So they think it's cool, but they don't really have any interest in it. And they really don't understand what it is. I've given them the opportunity to hop on one of these calls, and one of my friends was on here once or twice. Um, but they're not completely in it. Um, to the second part of your question, yes, it has gotten around. Um, especially when I travel, I take in a lot of days. Another part that I think has to change with the school system is, I mean, they're very strict about absences. I know a lot of people, or I guess when you guys were in school, it was probably less strict because everyone always tells me, Alex was like, I skip every other day. My dad's like missed 180 days of school and was fine. Now it's pretty strict. I can't even get my absences to go to conferences and events excused. They count towards the amount of days I can have out, even though it's all these things that I'm doing. And I've fought around for it. I've talked to my guidance counselor, and I'm pretty good. Like if I go over the amount of days I'm allotted, that I would be like fine. But I think they should build in some kind of absence for career development and being able to learn because school is one thing, but if you can go out and apply these skills, is really valuable. And it's not like I'm skipping school to like just ditch a day. I'm doing something with it. And yes, when I travel a lot and I take days off, it definitely floats around my school. People have asked me about what I do, and teachers have too. I've never actually really gotten any bad reactions from teachers. Half the time, they don't believe my friends. When I come back, they ask me, and a lot of people are just really interested in it and what I do. Um, it's not like they completely understand it, but they're always interested in why I travel to all these places. They're supportive too.
That's awesome. Yeah, absentees in my generation probably not as strict, but still, like I do remember getting a lot of in school suspensions for skipping too many times.
Yes, and I'm really OCD about my grades. I'm like, I gotta have straight A's, even if I'm never gonna use this again.
You're a smart man.
Hey, Kalina.
Hi, Nick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? I
Good,
truly
good.
enjoy seeing you growing and teaching and becoming more confident and learning about multifamily. But my question is, when you're teaching and learning along other teams, how do you present to them the opportunity to invest in multifamily? Usually at this age, they do not have money? Do they have to go and get a job to invest? Do they have to sell some stuff so they will use money? Or you're teaching them how to raise capital and be able to invest in multifamily?
Good question. Yeah, I wouldn't expect teenagers to directly invest in multifamily yet. Most teenagers don't make very little money from the part-time jobs they work. But I think more in the context of when you're young, especially underage, there's some legal restrictions on what you can and cannot do, especially getting on a GP table. And that's why I think it's really important to find a mentor who will give you that space, who is older to both teach you and give you a slice of the pie of what you're doing. And I think it depends on what people's skill sets are. There's a lot you can do in multifamily. If you're good at math, you can help underwrite. If maybe you're good at capital raising. If you have some good connections, you might be able to do that too. If you're good at talking to people, maybe you like searching on the web and you would be good at finding deals, even though maybe you don't have a car yet. Who knows? So I think there's that spot too. But also when you find a mentor, maybe it's an entire, management team. What skills do they need? I think a lot of people need help with marketing. That's why I started my social media class. That's why I love teaching marketing, because I've been to all these conferences and people are like, I don't know what I need. Like, I know I need to do it. I either don't have the time or I don't know what I'm doing. And that's what motivated me to start my social media class that a few of you guys are in. And I think a lot of teens are tech savvy. We're on social media all the time, and it's a huge asset to be able to provide that to teams that may not have it, both because it helps in capital raising and also spreading awareness. That's exactly what I did with Alex. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't like, Alex, I can join your GP team because I know how to take down deals, or I can help you raise capital. I didn't even know what multifamily was or how it worked. But I knew I could provide value in some way. Maybe it's atypical to normal multifamily syndications. I was able to help Alex in marketing. And I think that is a huge opportunity for a lot of teenagers because we're pretty tech savvy. We can learn, social media and marketing really fast. And I think that's a huge asset for teens to provide, but it also just depends on the person.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's just giving them the opportunity to realize that there are other ways of contributing than with money, with the
Exactly.
skills that they have, with the technological skills that they have, the social media skills that they have. Now, in this time and age, you see babies that cannot even, toddlers that cannot even walk yet. They're swiping the phone on the phone or the iPad. So you're absolutely correct. Yes, but it's the question of letting them know that you can contribute skills and learn. While learning, you will be growing into individual that have more knowledge in the multifamily industry. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for the question.
great way of, yeah, it was a great way of actually introducing teens to the world of multifamily and giving them opportunities to attend events or be part of a team and like-minded individuals and learn from them and being mentored. But thank you. You're a great example of that.
Thank you. And we always talk about investing in yourself and knowledge is so important. And I think it gets a bad rap, especially for younger kids, because we go to school, it's all about learning. But almost everyone I know, including myself, hates it. I've always been curious and I've always liked to learn. But not everyone is like that. And I think school really pulls the curiosity out of you and I think a lot of teenagers don't realize that, at least for me also, the education I've learned from Alex and the mentorship is priceless. I couldn't put a number on how much that costs, right? And I think to give the knowledge to teens that you can still invest in yourself and it can be fun and it can help you. Because I think school, it's yeah, you're investing in yourself, but it's boring and it's horrible and you're gonna hate it. Because that's kind of how most teenagers react to being in school.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's so admirable to have people like you taking the initiative to show that there is another way and breaking the stigma of this is the way, graduate from high school, go to college, get a job. and you'll be successful. But this is a big lie. Because as you said, a lot of people that have followed this trend of being really excelling in education end up broke or graduating from college with huge student loans and then trying to figure out how to pay them down with the salary that is not even enough to pay the student loans. But opening these opportunities for them to see that there is another way. And it's the problem with the educational system that prepares workers, not entrepreneurs. You yourself said that you were introduced to some business classes, but business operation, business management, but are they teaching you how to create a business, how to build a business, or just the basics of already established business?
No,
So
it's all about curriculum and vocab. And there isn't that hands-on aspect that is where you learn most.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is absolutely true. They do not teach you in college how to do things. They unless you have an opportunity to practice and learn as you go, you are not prepared for real life. Absolutely agree. So something has to change in the entire educational system to produce entrepreneurs, not just workers. But really admire you for taking this initiative and being lucky to be mentored by Alex and growing into the multifamily.
100%.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Fraser?
Okay, here's a doozy of a question for you.
Go for it.
Since you've been with Alex, have you had the opportunity to underwrite big deals and or other deals? And how many have you been able to underwrite with?
All right. Good question. So actually, when Alex ran his underwriting call, I hosted it twice and we underwrote deals on that call. So I know my way around underwriting now. I've been working on Alex's new multifamily masterclass. It's going to be a pre-recorded course. And I've been writing a lot of the slides and I'm like, wait, I remember a lot of this underwriting stuff. So I've been able to underwrite. I haven't really been a one to like go on Crexy or go look for deals and then underwrite them and present them to Alex. Mostly because I've been completely focused on the companies itself that I help run with Alex and all of his marketing in general. But I have underwritten, and I think another point to that is also being around this, we're talking in tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And like that's a lot of money. And when I was getting into this, I was like, whoa, like you're just casually throwing around 50 million, $100 million. Like that's a lot of money. Like most people don't see that in their life. And it really does expand your mindset of like, oh yeah, that's possible. Like I could be a multi-millionaire, I could be a billionaire. Like, everyone has that like fever dream as a kid, but you don't really understand it's possible until you realize like people are throwing around like these numbers like it's nothing. It definitely expands your mindset when you're underwriting and just being, in a setting like this. That answers the question.
That's a great answer. Actually, what I enjoyed, one of my favorite things that I enjoyed about the 360U event that I was at was to watch people present deals and then find out that they got funded, and they funded like 37 or 38 million dollars in one day. I was just blown. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And then I was like, wow, that's incredible. It's really, it opens up your mind to what is actually possible.
100%. People don't realize, like, you could go around and talk. My mom thought that you had to buy the entire apartment building. I was like, no, you can do it with other people. Hey, Armando.
Hey, Nick. it's my first time in the roundtable. I think I've been enjoying the conversation, really, really informative, and I really like
Welcome.
it. Yeah, and I appreciate everything that everybody has to say. And I have a 10-year-old, and she really wants to start selling bracelets and do different kind of business. And if
That's
you
how I
have,
started.
yes, and as a teenager entrepreneur, what advice would you give a 10-year-old who's interested in starting their own business or pursuing their entrepreneurial ideas? Because at such a that age, it seems that they have the mindset. It's just
Yeah.
showing the guidance and the direction how to take it. So what would be your advice to a 10-year-old?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and it reminds me, I used to sell rainbow loom bracelets on the side of like the corner, and we'd maybe get like one sale or two sales the entire day. Me and my friend would be out there the entire day, made like $2. Or we would sell lemonade. I did that a lot. So I think the advice I'd give a 10-year-old is, do it. Just be creative. You may not get any sales. You may get 3 people, you may get 100 people to buy it. But even just being out there and you as a parent, like encouraging that and like supporting her no matter what, is really valuable because, maybe it won't be, a huge business. It may, but it gives, that will forever be with her. And the next time she does something entrepreneurial, like she will remember that, and it builds. Like when I was young and I did my, lemonade stand built to when I did this garage sale with my dad, and now into this. And her showing signs that like she wants to be an entrepreneur. She wants to make bracelets and sell them is cool. And being able to support her in that, I think, is super important. So I think my advice to her is just do it no matter what. And it's great being so young. You're like I God, what's the word? You're like you can't be embarrassed. Like you could like sell like bracelets in the middle of like a park and everyone's there to support you.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And this call isn't always like this. Alex usually hosts this call, but I'm hosting it this week. So
Well, I have some. Go ahead.
No, go. I was just saying welcome to join.
All right. So what I want to share is like you probably do realize that you're an anomaly in the opportunity that you had to work so closely with Alex to be in the right place at the right time via the environment that you were in, because you're more than welcome to express like I have stopped putting posts on LinkedIn for a commission opportunity targeting young people. Well, they're usually young, the ones that respond, for a commission only position that you could make, or whatever your cut is, or whatever deals that you're in. And those that have a job or making or covering their expenses, they still want an hourly wage or they want some sort of regular thing. But if a deal closes, it can be 10 times more than that. And they don't have the self-discipline to stick with it. And we're remote. So I'm not going to constantly hound them if they're performing. They have to get back to me, at least at the beginning. So, if you know anyone, or you probably get people to ask you, well, can I work with you and Alex, or things like that, or they're looking for a similar scenario. I can do that with the right person, but I am not motivated to throw spaghetti at a wall to post something on LinkedIn and get 8 responses and finally get down to someone. And then they don't continue with what they say they're going to do because they want more immediate gratification. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, and I see it a lot. People are motivated by money, especially young people. We want to, I think teenagers nowadays with the internet are compulsive shoppers and just want money to be able to buy things or just have it in general. And that short-term gratification of getting a paycheck for 20 or 30 bucks for their minimum wage job can be more gratifying than playing the long game for a bigger check, but maybe it doesn't come as quick and as steady as $30 a week for you working a normal job. And I think it happens to a lot of people, and I understand how a lot of teens would be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and then realize that they're not going to get the money immediately. That's why I think it's not for everyone. And also to what Andy said, they may realize it later in life. I think it isn't common for a lot of teens to want to do this I think it's even less common that teens are given the opportunity to do it. And it's also not common for teens to stick it out and do it. I mean, we've had partners that are adults that haven't stuck it out completely, right? And as Andy said, like he probably wouldn't have started doing this right now. He probably would have still been interested in girls, but he had this information, and maybe a few years later, he would have gotten into it. Um, so to your question, don't remember exactly what it was, but I think yeah, it is uncommon. But at least providing this value to teenagers who may not do it now, but in the future. And I think it is hard to find kids who are willing to give up the short-term gratification to do it. Um, and yeah, we have people that reach out to us and wanna work, but I understand the same problem. People do it for a little while, but you got to be in it for the long game if you want to really make a difference.
I think it really depends on the person too, really. Like with your mindset, right? You've had this if you don't mind me speaking, I'm sorry about the
Go
interruption, but
for it.
I think with you I kind of see it, right? Right. Like even in the last 2 weeks, being exposed to just you being a young person in the room and speaking the way you speak, it's like, dude, you speak like a grown man, like an entrepreneur, right? And you've been exposed to it for so long, and you do things with your dad. You're kind of like you were set up that way,
Huh.
and right now you've been the more exposure you got to it, and you got the opportunity, and you took the opportunity. And not a lot of kids are going through that, right? A lot of kids are like going through iPads and iPhones, and they're seeing Mr. Beast do this, they're seeing these guys do that, you know, and they don't see many like 18-year-olds doing real estate.
No?
If they're seeing if there's 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds like you going on these platforms and creating your own personal brand and putting yourself out there on success, and these guys are like, hey, I can do this too, then that's when that exposure will come to their minds, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's possible. But it's not right now. This industry is still like it's in its infancy, where they only think people like kids, man, like teens, they only like tell me, right? Like all the teens in here, they did not know that you can do real estate when you're young. They don't know. I didn't, right? They only thought like, oh, you got to hit a certain age, or even if they were exposed to it or with their parents or whatever, you got to hit a certain age. And investing is investing. You can invest anytime you want. Like Warren Buffett invested, he was 12. But in real estate, it's like, dude, I thought I had to be. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was around like 26, right, 27, and and the people that I was around, like it didn't. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I was thinking in my mind, I was exposed to it. I'm gonna do this. But then the people that I was around wasn't, you know, my friends, my circle of influence weren't real estate. They were just play, club, you know, and I didn't put myself in those rooms, and I didn't have exposure into those rooms. I didn't know where to find them. I didn't know, you know.
Huh.
So, and then after for a while, I still had it in my mind. I've always wanted to do it, right? But then after for a while, it became, when it came time that I was really exposed to it, people started doing it, right? Then I know where to kind of search. But then at first, there was no one around us to. But
I
then
mean,
when there were people around us who was doing it, then I kind of like, okay, I can be around these people, right? I can find myself around these in proximity with real estate investors and learn more, right? So I'm thinking back. I'm thinking back to those days, and like even right now, right, with my daughter, she's like, I want to start a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I'm like,
do it.
okay, we could do that. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So let's do it, you know? And I'm like, okay, I'm totally up for it. But I don't know how to use YouTube. How do I do it? But we're gonna work
If
on
you
it.
can close a
But it,
multifamily
but
deal, you can figure out how to do YouTube. I believe. I used to have a YouTube
yeah,
channel
for
as a
sure,
kid too.
for sure.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's why it's
yeah, for
important
sure,
to.
for sure. And
I was just gonna say that like my parents always encouraged me in everything I do, and I think it's super important, no matter who you are, to do that because it does. You know, we're impacted as kids by the people we're around, and there are some kids that would not take this opportunity, and maybe it has to do with the household they grew up in. But like, if you can, keep kids being curious, your kids can make it a long way in becoming who they are. I don't think I would have been the same person being able to talk to you guys like this if my parents hadn't raised me the way I was. I don't think it's genetic. I think it's just the way you're brought up.
it's funny because lately my daughter's been like she's been making things. Like she'll make slime, and we buy slime all the time, like $10 at the store. But then she knows how to mix it now, so we don't even need to buy it.
There
So
you
I was
go.
like, why don't you just make slime and go sell it?
There you go.
Just go sell it. You know what I mean? So have her, I was like, that's the way. But before I wasn't thinking that way until, these things come up, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's so cool, it's so cool to kind of like for you to, to hear your story and for you to share it with a bunch of like a lot, like almost everybody on here is older than you and they're like inspired and I'm even inspired. I'm like, man, how do I get my daughter to even start right now? Right? Even younger than you, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
It's possible. I wish dude, it's always the
right,
cliche of like, yeah, everyone meets me and it's like, I wish I started when I was your age. And I'm like, shit, I wish I started younger too. And I started super young. What
but
else?
thanks, man. Thanks, Nick. Thank you for
Of course.
this whole thing. Yeah, for sure.
I love talking with everyone about this. It's very important to me. What else? Any other comments, questions? Anything? I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I'm always here, so you can always reach out.
Yeah, we should hook up sometimes, man. I wanna
For sure.
like
I'll be in
you're
I'll
out
be
in
in Vegas
I'm in
soon.
Jersey, right?
I'm in
You're
Jersey.
you're in
So,
Jersey.
but I'll be in Vegas and I'm probably moving out there. So,
Oh, you are.
yeah,
Okay,
this
get close to
summer.
Alex.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
cool.
My gap year.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, you guys are gonna get busy. You guys are gonna be real
It's
busy.
the goal, grinding.
Yeah, grind it out, man. But like enjoying it. It's fun though.
It
That's
is.
what you
I
guys are
enjoy it. It
doing.
doesn't
Like,
feel like a grind to
super
me.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Super fun. Yeah. But yeah, when you do come out, when you are here, yeah, I'll invite you out someday too.
Do it.
Our group is like, pretty straight too. It's pretty fun too. So yeah, everybody will be inspired by you too. Like, dude, if this dude can do it, like everybody,
Yeah, if I can do it, everyone.
everybody, yeah,
Right?
exactly. It's so funny. All right.
Right. Any
All
other
right.
Yes, I have a question.
Hey, Wilver. What's up?
How would you suggest like a fresh 18-year-old go into real estate like yourself?
All right, good question. Well, welcome. I'm about to be 18 too. Yeah, I think it depends. Are you in college right now? What's the workload for you? Like,
I'm a high school senior right now. I'm about to
okay,
graduate.
are you going to college or what's your plan at high school?
I'm thinking about going to college, yeah.
Okay. Well, have you applied?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. All right. Well, I think first of all, learn as much as you can. And I think the best way to learn, because that's step one, you can't do anything if you don't know anything, is to find someone you can provide value to and have them mentor you. So what I did is I met Alex, and I think the thing I want to build is a platform for teens to be able to meet this, because I'm telling you, like, go meet a mentor. But how the hell do you do that? And I don't really even think I have an answer to it. But look on social media, look at what people are doing, look at people in the multifamily game, and maybe not someone as huge as Grant Cardone, but it could even be him. But look at people that are doing what you want to do and offer to work for them for free. Because the education I've learned from working with Alex, and I got the opportunity to get equity in his company, but maybe people, not everyone is as nice as that. But offer to work for them for free because you will learn more working for them and learning from them than you will ever get paid at a job like that. So learn as much as you can. And if you can provide value to them and whatever your strong suit is, maybe you want to learn marketing, maybe you're good at math and you want to do underwriting. But just learning as much as you can from them, providing value might get you onto a deal with them and you can just snowball from them. But I think the most important thing is to find a mentor first. And it could be as easy as going on Instagram and messaging people that are doing multifamily. Maybe even people on this call. There are a bunch of people on this call that have probably closed a deal and need help in something because nobody is perfect at everything. I think there's a big opportunity in marketing for a lot of teenagers, but not everyone may like to do that. And there's people join more Zoom calls like this. There's probably people here. There's probably people on social media. Find someone who is lacking something that you can help them with and have them mentor you. And they may not know it originally that they're going to, but just learn as much as you can. And this is a great place to start being here, learning. Does that help? If you have a follow-up question, happy to answer.
Yeah, it definitely helps. But I wanted to share a little bit more. So I'm with this program called Hero Teen Millionaire Challenge, and it's basically like,
yeah,
they're teaching us all about like commercial real estate and multifamily. But it's like they're in a lot of different states. So I was wondering like how I would go about finding a mentor within that community. Like
Yeah.
how would you suggest?
First of all, location is not a barrier. Alex lives in Las Vegas. I live in Jersey. So I've been working with him from across the country virtually. I didn't meet Alex till like 4 months after I started in person. So I think, first of all, just observe and see what someone in that community needs. Probably, I spoke on the Teen Millionaire Challenge. Max is part of one of the ones hosting it, and I think it's an amazing community. And it's great to see a small speck of teenagers who want to do this, be supported by one another. So I think observe, see what people need, and try to provide value and just offer it for free to start. Like just be like, hey, I want to learn as much as I can. I see that you need help in this. Like, let me do it for you. And I just want to learn and I want to do this. Like showing initiative is the biggest thing for people in this game.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Welcome. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are in multifamily and are successful that need help in some aspect. Thank you, Kathy. Does anyone have any other comments, questions? I have two options for you guys. We can actually one option. Well, I guess two. We can do breakout rooms like we always do some networking. We can close the call. We can do more group stuff. What you guys want to do? All right, let's do this for in chat. You want to do breakout rooms? 1. And if you want to stay and keep talking in the group, 2. And if nobody answers, we'll just close. All right. More than 3 responses. We got 20 people. 2, 2, 2. 1, 1. 5. 5 of 20. Anyone else here? 1, 2. We're like evenly split, guys. Can you play the Legends song? Legends never die. Could play it. You guys want it? Legends never die. All right. Let's do one breakout here. Compromise. We're gonna do one breakout sesh. We'll break everyone out. We'll do it for 10 minutes. Then we'll come back. We can talk about what you guys learned. I'll pop into each room and we can keep talking after that if you want. Or we can wrap it up. All right. Because I see. All right, Svello. That's exactly what we're gonna do. One,
Oh,
then 2. Yeah.
Can I add something to the question that was right before when
Go for
it. The person who asked about how to get in? Let me see here. Well, I say you kind of just have to kind of grind it out and go on Facebook and look up all the multi-family groups that are out there right now. People are self-exposed to it. Go to conferences if he has a little bit of time to, a little bit of money to put in, $100, $200 to go to a conference. Just being in proximity with those, with other investors. There's always somebody needing something in the
Exactly.
space, you know. And then for a young person, there's always strength in like social media, marketing, data, I need it right now. I need somebody to do some CRM stuff. Really.
There you go. Do you have a CRM? This is like
yeah,
when I nerd out. I teach marketing, so this is my jam.
That's kind of like, that's really, you just really have to be exposed. There's just
100%.
everybody, just be in the room, like hop on as many calls as you can, even individually. There's guys out there that want to help other people, like always. But yeah, cool, Matt. Thank you.
Never underestimate how one person could change your life. That was Alex for me, but like we still go to conferences. It's not because I need to learn more about multifamily. Every single conference is the same. I think I have a joke with Alex. I sleep at most conferences now because during the conference, like I already like I've learned this, but it's all about networking. The people you meet after, like
got the best of that.
it's all the people you
Yeah.
meet after is like it's worth the ticket price times 100 people
Yeah.
you meet.
It's
Yeah,
literally,
yeah,
guys.
yep.
All right. I'm gonna break you guys out into breakout rooms and talk, hang out, and we'll see you in like 10 minutes. One of you will also get to talk to my dad.
Where's your dad?
Right there. It's
What's his
some of
name?
you, Mark. We have the same.
Mark?
Well, now he's in a breakout room, but you'll get to meet him after.
Cool.
Everyone go join a breakout room. I might combine them because not everyone is joining.
Did you join the big rooms?
I'll make my rounds. I'll go through all of them.
Oh, you do?
Just
Okay.
want to make sure everyone I lost Max. Okay. We're gonna combine these into Andy, were you able to get into the room?
No, I'm okay though. I'm kind of preoccupied right now, so
All right, all good.
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna go
whatever.
I'm gonna go hop into each of the rooms real quick.
Yeah, do your thing. That's cool, man.
All right. Bye recording.
All right, bye.
Gonna stop the recording.
All right.